Yeah.
We're back. We're back for the exciting season finale of the inaugural season of 709 Meridian with the original. We made it to the top, folks. We're doing the original Halloween, and we're excited. This is the cream of the crop, the gold standard, the best of the best, John Carpenter's original. And by the way, I'm D. This is Andrew.
Hello.
And we are 709 Meridian. We are at 709 Meridian. And I'm just hyped. I'm hyped. Can you tell?
Okay, so before we get going with commentary, some pre-movie show business as it is. We're going to start releasing non-synced versions at the same time. So those will be in the podcast feed. They'll be on YouTube, and they'll have a little bit different art and text, so you know the difference. But those are not going to remain synced with the movie at all. We're going to take out all the dead air where I'm sitting watching, thinking to myself, what the fuck are we doing watching Halloween 666? Right? Like, I thought I promised I'd never watch another Joe Chappelle movie, right? Like, somebody's got to pay me to watch Phantoms. So that kind of thing. So we're going to do that. And then we've got next season's subject planned, but let's wait until we'll tease that at the very end. It'll be our Darth Vader breathing. And
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I think that's all my news or show
we're
business.
also we've got our definitive listing.
Yes. So we are going to stick with the we're going to do a nice wrap up, and we're going to normalize doing the post show wrap up. That's the other thing. In the podcast feed, the podcasts are going to have chapters. Last episode had chapters. YouTube might have chapters if I can figure out how to do it. And then, post show, we're going to stick to talking more, since we're going to be having chapters and be able to truncate or be able to speed up the main body of the episode and that sort of thing. So we're going to normalize that whole post show trivia banter thing that we did with, of course, since it's our last episode, the definitive list. Countdown list, worst to best.
That's right. And we reiterate worst to best.
Yeah.
Because I believe there are some folks that got a little confused. And yeah.
Well, the official list wasn't out yet, so not it'll be out.
Well,
now.
the list wasn't out yet, but we also did reiterate a couple of times that we were going from worst to best.
Yes. Well, we came up with that along the way. I don't know when we started with that, because there's so many fucking Halloween movies.
Halloween Kills, dude.
No, we started with the worst. Well, did we start with the worst? Oh, we're going to have to talk. All right. So anyway, we'll save Joe Chappelle versus David Gordon Green for the finale.
There we go.
The the dueling Doyles, as it were. And we will get going here with the original.
The 1978 classic.
Halloween, originally intended to be called the Babysitter Murders. So that's what John Carpenter and Deborah Hill had before Mustafa Akkad came along. And you ready for the countdown?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, play.
All right.
Here we go. Not messing around with the music at all either, which is nice, right? Like,
very nice. Mustafa Akkad, Donald Pleasance in John Carpenter's Halloween.
So for the last time on the 2 episode, I was wrong. I thought that 2 introduced the jack-o'-lantern, but no, it's this one. So one thing about Halloween is that it's also got the one of the great filmmaker audio commentaries. So there's a commentary track out there from Carpenter, Deborah Hill, and Jamie Lee Curtis, recorded in the mid 90s for Criterion, and it is awesome. So
yeah,
it's on all the Blu-rays now at this point. I think they've got it licensed out and everything, so it's fine. But yeah,
and I would say Dean Cundy. I would say that the commentary, any commentary track with John Carpenter, is worth a listen.
Yes, there's some. Yes, he's got a very nice balance of the technical and the just him sitting there stoned. But I mean,
sounds familiar.
There you go, Tommy Lee Wallace, who did not come back and direct 2, but did come back and direct 3. He thought he was getting 2 or something. I don't know. I breezed through that trivia last time. So, but get Deborah Hill. So this was Carpenter's second big movie after Assault on Precinct 13, and it was his third movie overall. Dark Star was the first one.
Here we go.
So you could do Mr. Sin. You could have, just saying, for the Halloween special edition recut continuity thing, you could do Mr. Sandman there instead of that song. Just saying.
Pretty much.
But here we go.
The POV, which got used for every slasher movie following Halloween.
Now, supposedly, what's that book called? Shock Value, I think. There's a John Carpenter's buddy, somebody he knew, made a short movie in 1970 that basically did this, and it just hasn't been released. But pre-pandemic, the guy, somebody, I think at the USC Film School, here we go. Just the use of music, like it just,
yeah. Just that one note.
But then it hangs on, right? We got the tension, just the constant tension that takes forever to ramp up, right? It's, what was I saying? Yeah, so shock value. It was a touring. You can see it if you live in California. At least you could. So that is Deborah Hill's hand. She was the littlest person on set that day, so she got to play Michael Myers' hand. It is too bad that in Kills they didn't recreate. So I've always wondered if the rocking chair by the window is a reference to Psycho.
Could be.
Yeah, because this is very. I think it was Siskel and Ebert who were just kind of like, there's Psycho and then there's Halloween, because they fucking hated horror movies, or slasher movies in particular. I don't know how they felt about general horror movies. Like, would they fucking think of The Omen or whatever?
What, Siskel and Ebert?
Yeah.
They like this.
They like this, but they didn't like anything else.
No, they didn't like Friday the 13th or any of the rest of those. Especially
also, if we were keeping track, the boyfriend lasted less than a minute.
Yeah, he's faster than me in my old days.
Grabbing the mask. Quick cut there.
Hey.
You could have done this. What was I was saying? the Halloween Kills, since they were in the same house, they should have done that same sort of tracking shot through.
Yeah, right as he's about to, slaughter.
Just something, right? Like,
yeah,
just a nice callback.
Since they were, ripping shots all together.
Right.
Whole.
What's the Bloody Christmas? Is that what it's called? The Canadian one? Was that what?
Black Christmas.
Black Christmas.
Yeah. Here we go. Little Michael. And look at the mother.
Just like
she puts her hands in her pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it does run in a family. I don't know. And there we are, 709 Meridian. Boom.
Your first Dean Koontz crane shot of the movie, too.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are in the present, 1978.
A rainy night. Somebody is hauling ass in that station wagon. That's Nurse What's-Her-Face.
Smoking, of course.
Her ever-present cigarette. And Mr. Donald Pleasance keeping it sober for once.
Right? Like, he this was kind of just it. Like, once I guess a little bit different for the other Carpenter stuff, but he sort of got into playing Loomis and he never stopped.
Right. This was his
Sorry, you'll need to continue in Overcast.
This was his Van Helsing almost.
Mm-hmm. So, sort of infamously, Carpenter wrote Loomis and Deborah Hill wrote The Teenage Girls. I don't know I can't remember if she mentions who wrote The Nurse.
She's not a bad character, too. It kind of sucks that she plays such a small part.
Yeah. And it's also, here we go. It does sort of show
people in the rain
how hard it is to do a sequel to this kind of thing, because like
it's such a self-contained story.
Yeah. And once they hit like sort of these moments in the scenes, anything you ever do with it again is just nothing's gonna compare to this.
No, it becomes redundant.
And there was Michael. We could pause it and see if we could see his face, but
we see his face later.
We didn't plan for it.
And he's just mussing her hair. He's not exactly in kill mode quite yet.
Here we get the first
and And off he goes.
Yeah, the crack into the glass sort of just showcases how Michael's not. He doesn't have the same rules as a regular man. Though until the end, he's just a creeper, right? Like he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's just a dude
again. Yeah.
Like in this, he can be killed until, we learn at the end that he's almost damn near indestructible.
So those falling leaves, I believe, are somebody throwing those leaves in front of the camera. Somebody,
because everything else is green.
Famous. Yeah. And so this is Pasadena in for Illinois.
Yep.
But Carpenter's from Ohio, I think. So I don't remember where Deborah Hill's from, but they knew what it looked like. Another car that's got the business name sticker on the side, magnet sticker on the side.
The big brown boat. Just love how it just starts so naturally. This is young Jamie Lee Curtis.
Is this her first actual thing, or was she on some TV thing before?
She might have done some TV. Because she was on she was on an episode of the Hardy Boys. With a really bad wig on for some reason.
Because Jamie Lee Curtis always wears bad wigs.
I think that might have been her thing for a minute. Who knows? And little scrub Tommy Doyle.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, I think that was a California plate on that car. Yep, sadly, Tommy Doyle's going to grow up to be
Haddonfield's greatest meth dealer until
Anthony Michael Hall.
There's the old homestead. Spook house.
There we go. It's a haunted house.
And the kid that played Tommy was basically every kid in a sitcom at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There goes the tune.
Yep. Which, of course, got turned into a country song for H4O as a joke. Would have been nicer if they'd done it as a Carpenter's-esque thing.
Yeah.
But, and here's how Michael... Oh, here we go.
Something more representative of the 70s, I would think.
Yes. Is that supposed to be Mitchell Ryan's character? I can't remember. Or is it?
It might be. But we never see this guy again, do we?
No.
He was parked in a handicap spot.
Well, I mean,
Loomis, you dick.
And so here we get the first ever one of these scenes where the lecture is going to directly affect the rest of the movie. This has, of course, been duplicated in at least one Scream movie, possibly two, right?
Yeah.
And then at least two more Halloween movies, right? Like
2 or 3 Halloween movies, Scream, and then thankfully they I think they parodied it in Scary Movie.
so he's got the mask at this point too.
Yeah.
So this is a lot less on point of a lecture than in some of the other movies. Like H2O's is Frankenstein, where it's very directly Laurie's obsession has become her, she has become Frankenstein. No, I always thought that
A big ass pumpkin, man.
Look at the kids in the background, though. The cowboy and strawberry shortcake.
Cowboy and strawberry shortcake.
Is this the last time Carpenter worked with kids until Village of the Damned?
Probably. Haddonfield just has shitty kids.
Yeah, that's another thing we've learned.
Between this and the kids from Part 4.
Yeah, and they also, and then Halloween Kills too. That's the whole point.
Oh yeah,
There's
definitely.
shitty kids in that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So he's got the mask on now, which means that whoever robs the store in a minute was not him.
No, they say he stole the mask though, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't work timeline wise because he had the mask to look at. He followed Laurie to school,
Right.
and now he's.
So if one somehow you would think he was more fixated on Tommy than anything.
Right. So at this point, he's not. The fixating on Tommy makes no sense in like sequel logic, right? Like
No.
he's really just going to kill the people who came to his house, right? Like that's his plan. This is the rolling mountainous hills of Illinois. Very, very normal thing.
Now his plate there is an Illinois plate. You can see Land of Lincoln on the top. Yeah.
Okay, then I think the other one was too. I thought at the top it said California.
No, the other one might have been California.
This also has a very Hitchcock feel to it, right? Because it is, even if it's supposed to be Illinois, it's very much the sort of Northern California look that Hitchcock,
definitely,
where they ended up a bunch of the time. Yeah. The scene, I can't remember what scenes they add with the Loomis didn't fucking find the body. Good job, Loomis.
Right.
So there's a TV cut of this that adds some significant scenes because when you cut out the violence, the movie runs too short for a regular block. And so Carpenter shot those during Halloween 2. And PJ Souls is in one of them. Jamie Lee Curtis has got another one. And then Loomis has got one or two, including, I think, at Smith's Grove. But I can't remember what's in it.
Yeah, there was the one where he was arguing to keep him in or something, right? He
Yeah.
was arguing to keep him in the asylum.
Yeah.
There we go. The legendary PJ Souls and
Yes.
Annie
Nancy.
Loomis.
Nope. Nancy.
Right? Nancy Loomis. There we
Nancy
go.
Loomis. Nancy Keys.
Nancy Keys is Annie.
So good.
Yeah.
Like, in a freaking like state hospital car.
What? Yeah, these look nothing like Illinois streets, though. It looks small town, but it's definitely not.
Yeah, it does. I mean, but we're saying that knowing it. I think that.
Oh yeah, most watching it would be like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, it's just fine. But
I think they shoot on this particular street a lot.
oh yeah, I think it's like a. That's what I was thinking when she was walking earlier. Is like, is she just walking one way on the street and then turning around and walking the other way on the street?
Yeah, this street I think has been in multiple movies.
But I mean, you can see where the babysitter murders whole thing came from, was that it's clearly setting them up.
Yeah.
And we're never gonna meet Laurie's parents. Like, I don't think we don't meet mom.
See their mother.
I like that Nancy. Oh, there we go. This sequence. Well, that's the other thing is this one's just so full of these. Every sequence is memorable, whereas in the other ones, you're lucky if you get two, right? Like,
yeah,
and it just seems so effortless.
The suspense is not there. The kind of natural feel. Like, we know these kids.
Yeah, so I was just going to say about the last thing. Nancy Keys Loomis, she like started speaking over PJ Souls, and I can't tell if it was she's going too soon or if she was playing it like she's excited to give her some shit, which just works perfectly. Like, it's just.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about Kundi's photography here is that like he's muting what's got to be a very sunny day in Southern California too, right? Like, it's not overcast, and he's very carefully muting it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Boop.
Oh, boom. All right. Sheriff Brackett. One of the best town sheriffs in any movie.
Wasn't some of the character names are shared with Psycho too? Like Loomis is from that.
Oh yeah, Loomis. trying to think who else.
But
Because in a way,
I think
it was very subtly a nod to Janet Leigh and
yeah. But the bracket might have been named after. I can't remember who bracket's named after. But here we go with the afternoon trick or treating, right? Like,
this is how it is now. Kids don't even trick or treat after dark anymore. That's fucked up.
but yeah, so she gets home. Oh, okay. Yeah, we've got this sequence too, right? Like, there's just so many.
Yeah, this was definitely done on a Friday the 13th.
It's also in 2 to some degree, right? Like in the flashback, isn't her mom hanging the laundry, or I can't remember.
That was
Sure.
5, I think. No, wait. 5 was he's already there.
Yeah, 5 is already there. But I thought in the flashback to her remembering that her
that was
mom's not
6.
her mom.
That was 666.
Was it?
Because that's when what's her name gets killed? The mother in 6.
Yes. Which also is a callback to the laundry machine in 5 when they're down there.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. Like, because Michael Myers knows how to drive, but he does not know how to dial a phone.
No. Some of this stuff is in her room in Halloween Kills, I believe. Or H40.
Okay.
Like some of the same crap.
Tchotchkes, yeah. There's some people throwing leaves at her.
Now, here she is with the pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how little Jamie got the picture of her mom with the pumpkin in part 4. Like, who took that picture?
It was one of those trick-or-treaters. Michael Myers took the picture, and then he sent it to his niece. Like, why are you making this seem weird?
Yes.
Like, why
pulling up into Monte Carlo?
Does she pick her up over there? Like, I'm just.
Yeah, she could have busted a Yui.
Right. Like,
again, they might be going in that direction, right?
Okay. See, the
All
Mr.
right.
Sandman song would have worked out perfectly.
True.
This sort of character gets exposition dumper. I feel like Friday the 13th used him for a bunch at the beginning too.
Oh yeah. Somebody who just knows the whole story.
Of course, in The Fog, Carpenter's follow-up to this, really, Loomis getting bored with somebody, like, for the rest of these freaking movies.
The guy who goes around
right?
screeching evil for 2 hours.
But in The Fog, Carpenter got John Houseman to do that part. Like,
Yeah.
got to do a lot more bit casting. Are they smoking cigarettes or?
Oh no, that's not a cigarette. That's an
Okay.
Alzumo. And they're listening to "Don't Fear the Reaper," which is kind of a harbinger.
Well, and Michael's right behind him, and nobody's noticed. Like,
Oh no, Devon Graham's following us.
DJ Souls thinks he's cute.
Right.
Okay,
See, I recall that being slightly longer, where she repeats "my dad," and Laurie's like,
it's
"Who?"
right here.
Because she's
Isn't
so
it right
stoned
here?
up, but she repeats it though.
Oh. So this is the break-in, but Michael's already had the mask and he's following them at this point. So it wasn't Michael.
And that had to have been Michael.
Does he use any other masks later?
No. Love this shot though. Love this. This is some brilliant shit right here. Okay, they drive off. Loomis walks up.
Mm-hmm. We turn around and
Turn around and where's he at? Where's he at?
there he is.
Boom. God, this is genius right here.
This, yeah, and I mean, this is very Hitchcocky, but
Yeah.
also
That's the part where Hitchcock would have did a walk on.
yeah.
He would have been one of the deputies or something. This right here looks like Skokie.
It does. Because I mean, once Kundi's shooting for like sunset, and I mean, this day has sort of had two sunsets because when she's walking
Yeah, it's already getting
Nancy home, it was already sunset or whatever, Annie home. You could tell they were muting out the sunset for some of it at least, and now it's actually supposed to be sunset. But Carpenter, in either the commentary for this or I think The Fog or possibly both, he talks about how like the best way to do car shots is you just do them in a dark garage as a night shot because you don't actually have to do anything. You just have somebody like rock the car a little.
Yeah, just sitting there.
Yeah. So it's like, but he did this, elaborate car talk in this one. And they still haven't noticed that he's behind them, but they are stoned.
Yeah.
So, but now it's night and we're not going to be going back to the day. What's so funny about this series is that, and based on the name of the podcast, Michael Myers' house becomes the whole plot point in so many of the movies, right?
Yeah.
And it's got jack shit to do with this movie.
Jack shit to do with this one because this was clearly supposed to be a one-off.
And this is the main murder house. This is the one that's
that's where everybody gets slaughtered.
Super distinct.
All right, time to go to work.
but this is talked about it a little bit in the last one, where part of the Halloween is that Michael's present, right? And it is his presence itself is disturbing, and like his stalking. And when you remove acknowledging that that you're like seeing it from over his shoulder, it changes it so much. And you see that so much in 2 with the that stupid security guard sequence where it's like, it's like he's scaring himself, like who gives a shit. But here we go, Loomis and Brackett. And so, okay, this is where we find the first dead dog, right?
Yeah. A Strode Realty sign out there.
Mm-hmm. He got hungry. They don't come back to his house in the second one.
And second one is when they're stoning the house, though.
That's just the exterior. But it is the same house. So it's not, because the house is going to change every other time we see it, right? Like
the house becomes a mansion. It becomes a cathedral in one of them. Has its own dungeon.
Has a dungeon in Resurrection. It's got a freaking full like laundry, professional dry cleaner in the basement in 5, right? Like,
no, that's 6.
No, 6 is 5. When it's just the laundry machine. 5's got that elaborate one where she goes up the
chute.
And so this is also the window, right? That ties into Halloween Kills, where
this is also where Deputy what's his face?
Will Patton.
Will Patton, shoots his partner.
What I just don't get about the later Loomis appearances is like, Carpenter didn't spend 6 months working with Donald Pleasance on figuring out the Loomis performance, right? Like it doesn't seem like it took that much to get an all right performance from him, right? And so why didn't anybody else do it? Or was it just drinking?
Into this. Yeah, he walked into this as the prestige actor. It wasn't till the later ones where they just said, "Oh, as long as he shows up in front of the camera." They didn't care about this broken old man.
What Carpenter, let's see. So Carpenter never really gets credit for when the good writing, the really well-written ones like this, Assault on Precinct 13, The Fog, Escape from New York. Like Escape from New York is when his dialogue starts changing. But like for his first 3 movies, he like worked it sort of natural dialogue. And I think, that was like the Deborah Hill connection, I think. These are definitely all the same Marvel, or not the same, but like they've all got Spalding ads on the back. They're Marvel comics. You can't see what the actual ones are.
They went to the spin rack and just grabbed a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. The dog.
Get your ass off the phone. You're supposed to be babysitting. Get off the goddamn phone and feed me. Surprised it wasn't a Doberman. Those were the big 70s dogs. German Shepherds and Doberman.
Oh, here we get Ben Tramer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Ben Tramer.
What is Tommy Doyle wearing? It's like a.
Is he an astronaut?
It's like a astronaut / cowboy
Mechanic.
outfit. Yeah. I'd say it's like a shitty
It's a bootleg Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's a bootleg Hoth outfit, but it's too early for Hoth.
Well, he wore all white in the first one.
Yeah, but that looks like a Hoth outfit. Like,
yeah. But this was literally being made when Star Wars was still kind of. Star Wars didn't become a phenomenon till like, a noticeable thing till like 80, 79. Yes.
Whenever that first re-release was.
Right. Wow. Just okay.
It was the 70s, man. Like, you just didn't worry about. They've already worried about an 80-year-old creeper, right? Like, they've already mentioned some pervy old man, and it's like. I also like how
the dog doesn't like nobody. Hey. Whoops.
He stopped. No. Yeah, no. Immediately we established that.
That's a sick shot, though. How did they do that?
They probably just had him hold it up and hug the dog and then slow motion put him down.
Yeah. Because it literally looks like he went limp.
And now we have an incredibly long introduction where
to the thing.
John Carpenter, drops how much he likes the thing.
Which he would go on to remake.
But this is starting the movie marathon that's continued in Halloween 2, presumably.
Yeah.
With far less interesting movie. I mean, it's Night of the Living Dead, but like, still, that's not as cool as the thing.
Well, the time frame of this, once they do all of this happens in like maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because 2 is just the rest of the night.
Laurie's kind of being a dick because she's been seeing the boogeyman all day.
Right.
Literally.
She's just, oh, geez, I'm glad I'm not the only one here. We lay this shit on this kid.
She's also stoned. It's like,
yeah. That was some good old Cali weed back then. Some California gold.
And now this is why you don't have your laundry room in an unattached
completely
area.
separate.
They really should have, in Halloween Kills, they should have kept up with Lindsay Wallace not paying attention while somebody's getting killed, just like oblivious and shit.
Yeah, just not knowing what the hell.
Sitting on her phone.
Well, this Paul is some guy, isn't he?
So wait, the power's out to the overhead light, but the dishwasher's
work.
fine. Yeah, how would Lindsay hear her from inside?
Yeah, especially with that TV loud as hell. She wasn't even going to answer the phone.
No. How far are we in? Halfway?
Oh, yeah. This is such a brisk.
But they still, I mean, it still takes its time with like.
Oh, yeah.
Building up,
The pacing is insane.
So the little shit knows what's going on. Like, hung up on him.
Right. What the fuck?
So Michael did something to the lock on the outside.
If he really wanted to kill somebody, he could have just went on ahead and did it here.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Winnie the Pooh.
It's all the suspense building.
Who cared? Yeah, right. The fourth graders. My babysitter got stuck.
Does Paul say, "Why'd the kid hang up on me?" I can't. No.
He just calls back. Wow.
This is like she's in the fog as Janet Leigh's assistant, but this is basically the only movie where you get.
She's great because she's spunky. Like even in the fog, her little part, she's.
Tommy Doyle. So Lindsay's had a crush on him since Halloween 1978, and apparently he never turned that into anything. Just saying.
Of course not. Tommy had plans. Tommy dug into Laurie's stash and never looked back.
Is that the only time in the series Michael ever crouches? He's always like...
Yeah, it might be because he's always coming around a corner.
Yeah. So he's always, when he's running when people can't see him at top speed, and also crouching to set himself up for the surprise.
See, at least an hour or so has passed. Or 2 hours at least.
He didn't go drinking. He went trick-or-treating.
Yeah, he's wearing a Michael Myers costume.
Yeah, he lied about having a cool night. Instead, he's a fucking 17-year-old out trick-or-treating.
Here's the thing. How did he know to wear a Michael Myers costume? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because they get him in part 2, he's literally dressed exactly like Michael Myers.
Yeah. In the Halloween extended universe, there's a reference to it, apparently. What was she just singing? Was she just singing
the made-up song?
Was it the made-up song?
Yeah.
This yard just makes no sense, right? Like, it's
huge.
Because she walked back across the street directly into the backyard to the garage without having the keys. So, like, the backyard's just full of buildings. Now she's singing a song to Paul.
Doggone this Paul.
Doesn't realize the door's unlocked until boop.
Yeah, like, wait a minute.
And there's condensation. And we haven't gotten a good look at the mask, an unobstructed view of the mask, right? Like,
no, not head on till here. He's always been at a distance.
And this has still got the window, so it's very hiding the shark, as it were.
Yeah. This is the we're going to need a bigger boat. Down she goes.
And nobody can hear the car horn honking because they're all inside. Okay, so it's a Howard the Duck comic. So this is Forbidden Planet being shown on TV.
On Halloween.
Letterboxd. There was something about Forbidden Planet. It had at least a early Letterboxd VHS release. It's not impossible that it aired once in Southern California.
The first movie I think I can recall ever seeing on VHS and Letterboxd was probably Inner Space.
Yeah, Inner Space was the big first one. There was another one.
They had a tag at the beginning of it explaining.
Just think, they could have done, in the second one, they could have so easily done like a Mummy movie from Universal, where that was like a motif of the mummy carrying bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Inner Space, that was one. There was some other movie that had a similar situation where they released it Letterboxd only, but yeah. And the funniest thing about Interspace is when you watch it, it's not like it's 177 or 166. Like it's not like something like this where you wouldn't have been able to see anybody in the same shot half the time of the movie. So now Loomis has spent his night hanging out in the bushes. And this is where we're going to meet Lonnie, right?
Lonnie, yeah. Get your ass away from there.
And this ties into Halloween Kills.
Yeah. So of course H4O they botch all of this time wise.
Yeah, because doesn't Lonnie runs into him and runs into him?
Like it doesn't make any sense that he would be slaughtering these people and all of a sudden
he went upstairs, he set up the bedroom, then he went for a walk. That's where we're at.
That's the only logical explanation.
We sort of see the lined up for a slaughterhouse in H4O and Kills, but
wow, he straight up blames him for letting him out. It was carjacked. What I mean,
right? Look at this. Look at the van. Wait a second. Oh no, this is what's her face.
With Peter Billingsley. No. Oh, that aged well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's terrifying about the Halloween franchise is this is the most likable boyfriend. He's one of the more likable boyfriends in the entire 9-movie saga, right? Like,
yeah, he's also another quickie. Like all this build up to them, getting it on. And
one of the things I just can't figure out about it is like Carpenter had to know it was going to need the music when they were writing it, right? Because the suspense sequences.
I almost think he wrote around the music. Because it hits so right.
Mm-hmm. This only works if there's the music, like.
Yeah, stop being a jerk, Tommy. A little. Stop being a boogeyman.
Stop being a jerk. You're going to grow up to be an angry, bald, white male meth dealer in 2018.
Boy, Laurie was keeping visual like Batman. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's on TV now?
Does the
Inconvenient
fun
place
ever
for
stop?
phone.
What if the Wallaces just so happen to come home?
There's that. What if Paul, like, so wait, that's it for Paul? He's never comes looking for Annie?
He never calls or anything.
Okay.
Paul's the safest person in this movie right now.
When did they have those 4 beers?
Right. Oh, maybe this is Paul.
Mm-hmm. That's not going to backfire, dude.
The damn phone. That big ass office rotary phone in the house. Yeesh.
We don't know how
And
much time has passed since they went upstairs. I think the other thing is that the way Carpenter uses like Michael in this, like in another movie, that would have been a pop scare, right? The shadow crossing over him.
Mm-hmm.
Carpenter, even with the music drawing attention, like he doesn't use it as a pop scare.
It's subtle. So the Wallaces, they just, why does our room smell like cigarette smoke?
It was the 70s. Everybody smoked. Theoretically.
Right, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
The whole house just smelled of smoke, right? Like
Parliaments.
big old fucking weird painting of a kitten on the wall.
This definitely gets repeated somewhere throughout the franchise.
I mean, I guess Kundi's using like blue light, but look what he's doing with it compared to what. There we go.
4.
Shit, 5 too, right? I think 5's got that problem.
Yeah. 5's got a lot of smoke.
6 has got that.
5 had a lot of smoke and haze for no reason. Let me introduce myself.
And this is the head cock, right?
Oh, yeah. The classic head cock.
That's probably a Texas Chainsaw reference there. And there's the head cock. Yep.
What you do?
But it's like 3 head cocks. It's not just the pacing of it's just different. It's just so weird. It's like if you were to rip this off closer, you'd end up with a better product than not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of the Halloween H4O and Halloween Kills situation in some ways.
And he never thinks to do this again till 5. Sort of disguise himself.
Mm-hmm.
Use another damn mask. Wow.
Here we go. And this
She
basically
gets turned off really fast. God bless you, PJ Souls. You know, I just noticed Jamie Lee Curtis's hair is different here.
than at the beginning.
Right. It's not it's styled different.
Mm-hmm. Well, one was for school, one's for babysitting.
No, but this scene in particular, it's completely different than it was.
Well, the lights just went on and off in the cutaway too.
See, look, it's different there.
Yep.
It seems like it's longer or something. Another shot. That might have been a pickup shot.
Loomis. So at this point, Loomis has been just hanging out at 709 Meridian right there for a couple hours.
At least. I'd say 2.5.
I mean, how long's Forbidden Planet, right? Because the thing is 80 plus 85 minutes or something, I think.
Yeah, but it's on TV.
Good point. Loomis just noticed the fucking car being parked across the street, too. Let's not forget. He was there for 2.5 to 3 hours and he didn't fucking think to look at the car or look up the street.
Oh, so the Doyle house was just up the block.
Let's see.
Yeah, her hair was way different.
So at this point, does the movie ever let up? Yeah.
It changed again.
Did we establish that she wanted to sew earlier or Well, shit, they didn't film this over. Then we filmed this over a month at the most, right? Like Jamie Lee Curtis's hair just must grow fast. If her hair grows that fast, why the fuck didn't they just have it grow out for 2? Just saying.
True. I think at that point she
didn't have to anymore. She could say no.
Her style was the what do you call it? Prom night cut, or the terror train hair. But it was long-ish in the fog. It just wasn't like this.
Yeah. The other thing is that like we never hear the wind in some of these shots. We hear other
all the background
noise, but we never hear that. So it creates this like it helps create some of the tension of it.
The tension, yeah.
Because at this point, the movie could still be them about to throw her a surprise birthday party, right? Like,
that would be funny.
The one that's the most that's the most disconnected is the Rob Zombie Halloween 2. Is that until like the last 4 minutes, Laurie Strode's got nothing to do with Michael Myers, so they're totally independent of one another. Like I think he kills Danielle Harris, but she has no idea. So her story is only like foreboding because of the music and the Rob Zombie editing and whatnot. But
I just found out he's doing the Munsters.
Yeah.
Ugh. Who's the wife? His wife, probably.
I haven't paid any attention.
I bet it is.
I'm sure it is.
And if Sid Haig was alive, he would have been Grandpa.
Like it's just PG Rob Zombie or whatever. Like,
oh, you're kidding?
Oh yeah, it's not. It's just going to be. It's PG at most, PG-13. It's not a Rob Zombie movie. Some of this Dean Koondy is just, this. I don't know. Is this
look at the
best?
Angle? I love how it's set. Like, looking up.
Mm-hmm. And he's got the light coming in, mostly over her shoulder, but also enough from the front to like. It's just so good. I think this is probably the best photograph sequence in the movie.
This dark room photograph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if we can say that shuttered windows and doors are referenced to anything because they're fucking everywhere in this movie. Like,
that's what Haddonfield is known for.
Mm-hmm.
Haddonfield's known for their shutters. The plant is at the other side of town.
Mm-hmm. Tommy Doyle.
It's also a really California thing, probably too.
Okay, so we're at about 76 minutes before we get the first like super shocker moment.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Like Michael really worked hard at staging that. Like, just
right. He didn't leave the house till it was perfectly perfect.
Well, like he got the jack-o'-lantern set, like that one. However, he's just like, nah. I
The
just
tombstone kept falling down. He's resetting the tombstone.
Well, because we saw him carrying the body in, but at some point he had to bring the tombstone in.
Yeah. He had to go to the car to get the tombstone.
So if you really wanted to do it right, Tommy Doyle would have run into, or
this.
Lonnie would have run into him when he was carrying the tombstone.
This.
Just coming in
out of the
so
dark.
slowly.
Ugh.
And there's where she hurts her leg. Yeah, I wonder what the second one. I wonder what would have happened to the franchise is if the guy who played Michael in the second one played him like this. Because,
instead of so robotic.
Mm-hmm, because that's what Michael's become, right? Like, even in the new ones.
Yeah. Well, Nick Castle, I think, didn't he say that he just did it as though he was he moved like a regular person. Like,
yeah, they didn't think about it as anything like that. And now, of course, you just say he's old or whatever. So,
okay. She's screeching for help.
We already established nobody in Haddonfield hears shit because of that car honking.
Yeah. All the houses are soundproof.
And they just don't
Laurie
give a shit.
Strode? What is Laurie Strode doing at my house this time of the night?
Everybody knows her when she gets to the hospital. And this fucking guy's like, nah, I'm not opening my door.
Right. Okay, so the porch lights are on here.
All right.
There is some point where the porch lights aren't on. And note the door.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something with the door. Okay, there's the doorknob.
Come on, kid. Damn. So good. Like this.
Yeah.
This sort of unduplicatable arc, though, like you're just never going to be able to get that in a sequel.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the Vader
window.
breathing.
Mm-hmm. Shouldn't have left the window open.
Oh, this is the part in Terror in the Isles. I love the scene of Terror in the Isles where they cut to the audience in the theater. Here it goes.
So I was thinking,
don't drop the knife, asshole.
how well this works as a one-off, right? And then the goal of the franchise was initially that it was going to be a bunch of one-offs.
Yeah, anthology type.
Why didn't Carpenter ever do any of his other movies as one of those? You could have set The Fog on Halloween. Like,
that would have made more sense.
He didn't want to do any of that shit. He just wanted to, like,
he wanted to be done with it. All right.
Okay, so it took Loomis a half hour to walk 3 blocks or something, is what we're.
Yeah, because the Myers' house in proximity is kind of a weird location.
But he just said 3 blocks. And so presumably that means Michael carried that tombstone.
Well, he had the car.
No, but he parked the car over by his old house.
Oh, yeah. I guess he put the tombstone somewheres.
He was running. He can run. He can hop and he can run, or he can duck and run.
He's got 4 speed. Wait, who's that? Okay, this is the second attack. Or actually the third at this point, right?
Yes, third, because the first is in the other house.
In the other house, yeah.
Notice there's none of the fucking eyes, right? Like, they very clearly leaned into the eyes for better or worse in the second one. And I think we can see where it went. And then this sequence, which, like, has become what the movie's was sort of most known for before things. And it's just like, it's good, but I don't know that I guess I never, like, hid in that exact kind of closet enough for it to be super effective or something.
Yeah, it's just in a closet in general.
We established Michael needs light to fucking see things. Like,
oh, hi, Mark. All right. Don't drop it this time.
Mm.
I like how she's holding a knife like a gun.
Yeah. Oh, people can't hear me nod. That's a problem. Yeah. I mean, more than, I don't know, like, that's kind of the thing about the first 4 or 5 John Carpenter movies is that actually nobody else could have made them. But, like, I feel like Halloween, especially having seen 40 years of Halloween sequels, really just shows out how, like, in order to do this kind of thing and to do it this well, it needs to be, you know, a singular film director like John Carpenter.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. This is what established him. This is literally his Jaws, you know.
Yeah, but he made this, well, shit. 74 for Dark Star. This is 78, so 4 years in. Yeah, Spielberg made Jaws second too, right? Like,
Yeah, because Sugarland came first,
Sugarland. And then, yeah, so Assault on Precinct 13 is John Carpenter's Sugarland. And then
right? This set is stride, pretty much. Come here.
also, Michael never breathes like that in the other ones, right? Like, that's.
Not really. Yeah, and then we see his
There's
face.
your face. And one.
There we go.
Two, three, 4, 5, 6. And I don't know if they add it.
They need to have a name for that noise when they hit the ground. It's just as big as the Wilhelm screen at this point.
Yeah.
People call it the Pink Panther noise, but
And
he's gone. The evil is gone from here.
I mean, it's almost as though the implication is that he doesn't exist, not that
Now that would have
he's
been
out there doing something, right? Like, because Loomis isn't panicking.
No, he's like, God, dog, what?
Right? It's the uncanny again. And now we're getting the shots through the house that sort of remind of the opening without being in the same house and things like that. And then the Vader breathing.
Is it me or is that shot of the living room still had a knife on the floor?
There's the fucking the lights.
Porch
The
lights are off.
They just fucked up the lights.
709 Meridian, folks.
709 Meridian. Yeah, they really. You can't really top that. Like,
no, and they haven't.
No. Okay,
they
so
just remixed it. You know,
Graveyard Keeper, Richie, Lonnie, Dr. Wynn. That is Dr. Wynn.
So, okay. So it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be what's his face? Mitch Ryan.
Mitch Ryan, yeah.
So looks like the credits are going to run about 2 minutes, which means that the main movie's 78 minutes, or no, not 88 minutes, which puts
80.
it, 8 minutes past H2O's main story or so. Like, okay. Any other names popping up? Let's see. I don't know if James Cameron worked on this one. There's a not zero chance he's who I'm thinking of that was throwing leaves, because Cameron painted shots for what's called Escape from
New York. Yeah.
Escape from New York. Yeah.
Bowling Green Philharmonic Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Fear the Reaper. BOC.
The Thing, Forbidden Planet, and no other movies.
Filmed in Miggy Figgy Panavision.
Falcon International Productions. And
oh, none of this is true. Damn. It just goes on after the credits. That's so dope.
Yeah, that's not. what, 8-10 seconds after the credits? Yeah. All right. So that was Halloween 1. Wow, they should have stopped right about then. Like
They could have.
John Carpenter told him to.
They could have stopped.
Yeah, it's I feel like part of its whole disappearing for 15 years or whatever from the, I mean, it didn't really disappear from the, I mean, it certainly didn't disappear from the consciousness because you had the sequels going on, but it was just like, I feel like when Fangoria got popular in the 80s,
once video stores started popping up,
it just sort of,
it had a new life. Definitely in like repeated TV viewing.
But I think that the first one got sort of forgotten for the franchise's sake in some ways. Just how, like, and that could have, I mean, again, what's the TV cut look like? I think the Anchor Bay TV cut is the movie with the extra scenes put in. I don't think it's the movie minus whatever they cut out of it and had to add the extra scenes to, right? So it's like, it's not a true, like, looking at it now, it's not the same thing.
Some of it flows well, and then at other points you're like, dude, this was just thrown in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of exposition.
I feel like the PJ Souls scene's a fun cameo, but I think that I feel like it screws up the pacing of that section.
Yeah. Where she comes to the house and it's like, what?
But I mean, the other thing is with TV cuts, you don't know about that because you've also got commercial breaks and that's affecting how everything's paced and things like that. So it's like,
oh yeah,
it is difficult to really approximate that experience, and why you would want to do it anymore is, I mean, it's like, it's interesting because it is how people would have seen the movie for X amount of time, but it's also,
because the TV cuts are probably a little better known, especially for part 2, because I can recall seeing it a couple of times, and somebody else was like, "Well, what happened at the end? The ending, he's supposed to get up in an ambulance and all that."
Right.
A lot of people don't remember that the original cut just cuts,
which is kind of what this one does, except without Mr. Sandman. I think that, I don't know, like if you were trying to make him more, if you were trying to bring the Mr. Sandman in, I think you could get away with it at the beginning, playing over the kids singing in the 1964 flashback. But at the same time, I feel like you shouldn't use it at the end of 2 then, right? It's like only really works once.
Yeah, it's
all
more
right.
effective.
So
at least it wasn't. I only have eyes. I hate that shit. Because they use that in every horror movie now, that fucking song.
All right, let's go. Oh, wow. All right. So we're going to quickly go through some trivia on this one. And then we will do the Halloween in order as we are doing our wrap up here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So John Carpenter considered hiring Jamie Lee Curtis as the ultimate tribute to Mom Janet Leigh and Psycho. So there's that right off the bat. Budget of $300,000, grossed $47 million, making it one of the most successful independent films of all time. I feel like it was like the most successful independent film until the mid-90s. Like, I think it held on to that for a long time. Babysitter Murders took place over multiple days, and this was reduced for budgetary reasons and made Halloween because it was scary. Jamie Lee Curtis was the only high schooler. Something about the mask. Don't care. Story is based on an experience John Carpenter had in college touring a psychiatric hospital. Carpenter met a child with the look of evil, and it terrified me. Cushing and Lee turned down Loomis.
Wow. Neither of them would have worked.
No. Can you even imagine? Oh my God. Peter
you got
Cushing?
Christopher Lee towering over everybody.
That would have been the most interesting. I feel like Cushing just would have made it feel like a Dracula movie.
Oh, well, yeah. He definitely, that would have been the connection then.
Okay.
To Van Helsing and
because the film was shot out of sequence, which would explain Jamie Lee Curtis's hair changing, they used a fear meter to let Jamie Lee Curtis know how scared she should play in each scene, which makes her performance even more impressive. Pleasance and Hill were buddies. Deborah Hill wrote most of the dialogue for female characters. Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, Jamie Lee Curtis was on the sitcom Operation Petticoat at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
The dark lighting comes from necessity. They didn't have money for lights. Paper leaves. Let's see what else here. He originally showed the music without music, which did not impress anyone. There's a book, which we mentioned last time, so still don't know what the book is. John Carpenter composed the score in 4 days. It's shot in 20 days. Okay, here it is. Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, is one of the guys who threw dead leaves. That's who it was. Yep.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
PJ Soul saw the movie. Some guy yelled out from the theater during her topless scene, and her boyfriend, Dennis Quaid, offered to confront him, but she did not have him do it. The scene where the shape seems to appear out of darkness behind Laurie was accomplished by using a simple dimmer switch on the light that slowly illuminated the mask. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, here we go. Loomis did all of his shooting in Pleasance did all of his shooting in 5 days. He's only in the movie for 18 minutes. The character Michael Myers was named after the European distributor of Carpenter's previous film, Assault on Precinct 13, as a weird kind of thank you for the film's overseas success. Supposedly, John Carpenter got the money from Mustafa Akkad, basically because he was hustling. Akkad was bitching about a movie that was costing him $300,000 a day, and Carpenter said, I can do that I can make a whole movie for $300,000. Going. Okay, sorry. We're running into the trivia that is stuff like, Jamie Lee Curtis admitted I loathe horror movies. I don't like to be surprised. Does she say that about the new ones? Just saying, maybe. Maybe your opinion actually changed. Loomis was originally supposed to have a lengthy phone conversation with his wife, where he could do some exposition dump, and also could that would also be sort of a 2001 nod, but also Pleasance didn't want to do it because he thought that the character should be an enigma, which is another one of the things that sort of backfired as the film went on.
We also have to add that Laurie has no idea who this man is.
There's Loomis that too, right? Yeah. Loomis is just as Loomis and Michael just came to town on the same night, right? Like there's no tie. Only the graveyard guy remembers the Myers story. Tommy and Tommy's bullies or whoever, or Lonnie's friends. It's just
it's a ghost story by the time.
It's just a ghost story by then, yeah. Haddonfield's named after Deborah Hill's hometown of Haddonfield, New Jersey. Linda's line, "Cute Bob, real cute," is a reference to the Donnie and Marie Osmond show, which was lost over time.
For real.
Oh, I was right. To achieve the shot of Michael Myers strangling the dog, the trainer on set held the dog in his arms and dropped him naturally. This was shot in slow motion to make it look as if the dog was killed. So they just used a better camera because, slow motion would have fucked it up. Blah, blah, blah. Real place is sanitarium. John Carpenter states the original title sequence was to show a long shot of a sideway ending with a Halloween mask on the floor, well, I would assume on the sidewalk. And it was dropped for the more iconic sequence of the jack-o'-lantern. You should try that, though. That would have been kind of cool. Carpenter and Dean Cundey watched Chinatown when planning the photography. Blah, blah, blah. Tommy Lee Wallace, who was like the production designer, cut the pumpkin for the opening titles, which makes sense if he's the production designer. Carpenter says it's just a horror story. Don't see it as a morality play about virgins or something.
Yeah, it's a horror movie. It's a roller coaster.
Tommy Lee Wallace had worked second unit for Carpenter on this film and was originally chosen by Carpenter and the producers to direct Halloween 2. His approach was more of an H2O, where it's 5 years later, Laurie's in graduate school and Michael resurfaces. Carpenter insisted it had to be a Next Kind of Day type of sequel, and they wanted more blood because of Friday the 13th. So Tommy Lee Wallace didn't do it. And by the time he was proven right, it was time for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Average age of the cast and crew, it was 26. That's kind of interesting. Blah, blah, blah. In reality, most of the score was performed by John Carpenter on a piano he was using in his home, with Dave Wyman making later additions with a primitive synthesizer. So not the Bowling Green Philharmonic Orchestra for much of it. Shatner sued for likeness on the Michael Myers mask once he found out about it. So that's cool.
Isn't that why they painted it white, though?
No, I think they painted it white just so it wouldn't just be a Captain Kirk mask. But he sued for past royalties. They settled out of court and he donated to charity. Ironically, it should have been dismissed just because the mask was a likeness of Captain Kirk, which at that time would have been off the cartoon, not off of what's his face. But the Star Trek crew, of course, got fucked by Paramount on likeness things. So whatever they can do to get more is good. Kyle Richards, who plays Lindsay Wallace, is the sister of Kim Richards, who was in Assault on Precinct 13. They later went on to star in The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Hmm?
Yep. Dick Baxter, who was mentioned as the dirty old man, is one of the first 3 victims in The Fog. Staring at this, what is something about... Carpenter says has mentioned at some point Michael Myers was based on the gunslinger in Westworld. We're getting close. We're getting close, everybody, I promise. We're down to what kind of gun Sam Loomis carries. Talking about the cars.
Just in case you want to go out and get your own pistol.
Yeah.
For that Michael Myers hunt.
So speaking of the convoluted video rights, which we could just do 10 minutes on.
Yeah. That's a whole rabbit hole unto itself.
In 2021, a remastered, restored version of the 1978 film was released as part of the Lionsgate film catalog. Additionally, the sequels from the Universal Pictures period are now part of the Universal catalog, and the Miramax period sequels are now Paramount. The current prequels trilogy,
Universal.
I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Something about the Swedish title. Halloween Nights was set on Halloween night in 1965. That's stupid trivia. Who cares? If Mike Myers used his real name, he'd be Michael Myers. That's a good one. Michael Myers was not supposed to be grotesquely disfigured, simply injured by Laurie stabbing him in the eye. Here we go. Originally, the script had Donald Pleasance having a surprised reaction to the disappearance of Michael Myers' body from the lawn. Instead, Pleasance suggested his reaction should be, "I knew it would happen this way." They shot it both ways and picked Pleasance's version. So really does not tie into the second one. In the TV version, we find out that Michael's name is Michael Audrey Myers.
That's right. That's from the sequence where they're where Loomis is protesting to keep him locked up or whatever. They're in the big room.
Yeah, and then the last trivia note is something about how the movie's a metaphor for changing sensibilities about teenage sex, which of course is exactly what Carpenter and Hill said never happened. Okay, so since we're not going to watch the TV version, let's go through this real quick. The changes in scenes. There's a scene where Loomis is talking about Michael when he's a kid. So that means Michael was his doctor, or Loomis was his doctor forever, which I think is established later. They look at the break-in room, or the room that he broke out of in the sanitarium, and see sister written on the wall.
Yeah, there is that.
Okay, so that first scene was like 5 minutes. The second scene is 2 minutes, and the third season is Laurie and PJ Souls hanging out at Laurie's before babysitting starts, and Annie calls or something. So,
the sweater sequence.
I think
the blouse.
Yeah, besides the sister thing, the most memorable one is the Loomis at the beginning. Because when you think about it, when you add, 5 minutes of Loomis, if you add 5 minutes to Loomis to the movie, that's a substantial amount more of Donald Pleasance in Halloween. Because if he's only in it for 18 minutes, it's like they said about
the most of it.
Yeah,
they make the most of it though, because you never even noticed it.
No, and it's because Carpenter has got that, like, all the scenes. When a suspense sort of Michael and the babysitter scene starts, he plays that whole thing out in real time until that sequence comes to an end, and then he jumps ahead. So it's like we get 8 minutes of Annie's night, right, even before anything happens, and then they jump. So it's the pacing on that's just awesome. Like, who knew? John Carpenter makes really good movies. It'd be nice if people hadn't forgotten for 15 years or whatever they did.
No, it's not that they forgot. They just kind of went on ahead and started aping his style. A lot of people.
I mean, I think
that might have been part of why he sort of just dipped out. He's like, why the fuck should I keep doing this? And, he had other interests.
Yeah, he wanted to smoke pot and play video games. That's literally all he did until fucking Lost Themes. And when they asked him, what are you doing? He's like, I'm having too much fun smoking pot and playing video games. And then when he made The Ward, he only did that so he could hang out with scantily clad young women. So it's almost better when he doesn't talk and just, it's like, but yeah, so let's see. So Carpenter, after this was The Fog, Escape from New York. Then he did The Thing, and that bombed. Then he did Starman, and that bombed. Then he did Christine, and that bombed. Starman bombed.
Really? Christine bombed?
I mean, didn't it comparatively bomb?
I don't know. All I know is it came out around that time that, like, every other horror movie was a Stephen King.
Let's see. Just for the typing folks.
But I do remember that The Thing did bomb.
Christine made $21 million, so less than half of what Halloween made a few years earlier. So no, Christine bombed. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah,
that bombed.
See, it's like it's hard to tell looking back, because like some of those movies became big, like super duper big cable hits.
Right. Like
Last Starfighter for Nick Castle became a bigger cable hit than it was in the theaters.
And I feel like, I think, and then Carpenter did Prince of Darkness and Prince of Darkness. And it's like, I don't know, man. At that point, maybe you should have just done Halloween 4 and made it good. Like, made a splashback, because you didn't make a splashback on your own.
No.
So
I can recall when Escape from LA was supposed to be his big.
I fucking hate that movie. Like, I watched it the last time I watched it. I was just like, it was that combination of being mad that I ever liked it. So like just being enraged at my 18-year-old, 17 or 18-year-old self, but then also just like mad at everybody involved. I was just like, this is just And it was Deborah Hill too. She died a few years after that, but she came back for that. And I'm just like, why the fuck didn't you two just work together before? But I mean, with Carpenter turned down, Carpenter's like the Billy Crudup of directors, right? Like Carpenter turned down
because there's
Star
stuff
Trek
he would
the
have
motion
excelled
picture,
at.
right? He turned down a bunch of other stuff. Like Billy Crudup turned down Titanic or whatever. So it's just
especially if he wanted to branch out, and do other stuff than horror, he could have easily just done, something like Star Trek the motion picture, or
especially considering that he ended up doing
Ghosts of Mars.
Well, no.
Which was,
hey, I like Ghosts of Mars.
That was a remake, though, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's Assault on Precinct 13, and also whatever that other. Yeah. But it's better than Escape from LA.
Oh God,
yeah,
Escape from LA. I do remember Escape from LA having a good trailer. That was about it.
But I think it was just a trailer that reminded us that we liked Escape from New York and wanted to see that again. But it's almost like
it's the one where in the beginning it starts off as like a almost a movie theater PSA, and then at the very end it's Kurt Russell as Snake.
Yeah,
talking about "Call Me Snake" or something.
Yeah,
and then they did those god awful comics. Jesus, have you seen the comics?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
the comics, and recently they've done crossovers.
I saw the crossovers. So weird thing, probably the first trade worth, but I think it's like the first 9 issues of Big Trouble in Little China. The comic is great. Yeah. It immediately goes to shit, like in the second arc or something. But I remember the first one is actually like great. Like I was overjoyed at how good it was. And then it just immediately goes to shit. But it was good for a bit. Carpenter like writes comics too sometimes. He did that for a bit. Those were all shitty.
You know what? I'm shocked that they didn't cross over Big Trouble in Little China with Buckaroo Banzai. Because W.D.
Richter.
Yeah.
I bet it was rights. I bet that's all. I bet it was that, because for them to be able to do those crossovers, things have to be established long enough for somebody to give them the chance. Like, I don't get. Like, just fucking do it. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you're going to tarnish this thing? Like, everything's tarnished.
Right.
Like, leave it alone.
Like, somebody was hanging on. Somebody was clutching.
Yeah, the pearls of continuity for Buckaroo Banzai, which isn't untrue. Like, Buckaroo Banzai fans are fanatical. So
they're very diehard for it, but it's not so much that that it has to be beholden to,
Yeah, but that was another cable hit. So anyway, 80s cable hits. I mean, yeah. So with Carpenter and just sort of it's funny how, because so much of Halloween is just shitty, and we'll get to the list in a minute here, but because so much of it, the bulk of Halloween, the franchise is just shitty. When you talk about Halloween, you don't talk about it as a Halloween movie. You talk about it as a John Carpenter movie. Like, there's no other way to talk about it.
Mm-mm.
The TV cut a little bit more, but like, the thing is, writing Sister on the door also would explain him stealing that fucking headstone.
Yeah.
So, but all right, are we ready for the list?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So I got my list, and then we'll make an official list.
Mm-hmm.
The 709 Meridian official list. Coming in at number 9. This is the worst Halloween movie. I say 666.
I'm gonna say Kills.
You're gonna say Kills?
Because it ruins all the goodwill that.
Yeah, but you had goodwill with that. I see I didn't have. So that's gonna be the big difference.
But then I got turned around on it.
I know, because Kills revealed.
Because it is an awful movie. It's a bad movie, but Halloween Kills is just like, there's so much dumb shit that goes on in that movie. It's just like it stopped you. I don't even anticipate the next one. So
Yeah, that is a thing. So I was thinking about that. I don't know how we'll do a commentary on that, but maybe we'll do a return season at some point. But that's not what's coming up. We're not waiting with bated breath for Halloween ends.
No.
Okay, number 8, second worst. I'm going with 5.
I'll go with 666.
Does not want to do numbers backwards. Number 7. This is where I get to the unpleasantness for me. On a weird technicality, which I will explain, I'm actually going to stick Resurrection at number 7 for reasons that I will get to in a bit. What have you got?
I would say 5.
Okay, so
5
then
again has the most annoying friggin' characters, you know?
I think I see exactly what's going to happen with our list. I think they're going to be off by Halloween Kills, basically. All right. So then number 6 is where I'm going to stick H40.
You know what? I can agree there on that one.
Okay. And then here we go. 5th is where I'm going to have to put Kills. And here's why. It's shitty, but I would rather watch it again than after we watched fucking 18 again. I would rather hate watch Kills more. And the sequences where they ape this one and 2, that's better filmmaking than they did on their own at H40. So it's a weird technicality that I don't like it, but like I've got to say the shots at the beginning where they're running around and it's the wide shot through the alley.
Well, that's the only thing that's the only merit it has at all to me.
So like as an aping of Rick Rosenthal and John Carpenter pretending to be Rick Rosenthal, that is why I'm going to put it so incredibly high, even though I don't like it at all. And you are going to put
2018.
You already did 2018 last.
Did I do it? Oh, well.
You did. Yep. You're either going to put Resurrection. 5. Nope, you already did 5.
You know what? No, I'm saying for number 5.
For number 5.
Yeah, Resurrection. Only because I said it before that it's a shitty Halloween movie, but it's entertaining as hell as far as being a slasher picture.
All right, and here we go, coming in to the top 4, and I feel like there's not really a top 4 because like 1 and 2 are pretty much, at least for me, like no brainers, right? Like, okay, so number 4, I am actually going to go with Halloween 2.
Okay. I think 4 would probably be H2O.
Okay. 3, I'm going to do Halloween 4. So third best is going to be Halloween 4.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one because that stays with the that just stays with the tone, and it was well done in a lot of parts.
And then for my second, I'm going to do H2O, and you're going to do 2, Halloween 2. Presume.
Yeah, Halloween 2.
And then number 1, we're both going to do Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, the director's cut, but the uncut, edited TV airline cut or not. All right, so there you go. So best to worst, top slot, we've got Halloween 78, second place. You've got Halloween 2, I've got H2O. Third place, we got Halloween 10. Or Halloween 4, if you want to go by that kind of titling. For fourth place, I've got Halloween 2. You've got H2O. For 5th, I've got Kills with so many asterisks after it, and you've got Resurrection. For 6, we've both got H40. 7, I've got Resurrection. You've got 5. 8, I've got 5. You've got 6. 9, I've got 6. You've got Kills. So
yeah.
Pretty much. Hate me some Joe Chappelle. Hate him. So that is it. That is our official thing. I'm wondering if I might try to cut together some sort of a video for the YouTube channel. I don't know. That seems, if I want to like learn how to do some of that shit, I might do it, but we'll see. Okay, and then next season we are going to be watching.
We're doing, what are we doing? Poltergeist next, right?
Doing Poltergeist next. And since we're doing worst to best, I'm assuming that means we're going 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we're gonna start with 3.
Okay, so I might have to watch that before we record, so I have some familiarity with that one. Nancy Allen, right?
Yeah, Nancy Allen, Tom Skerritt,
Heather O'Rourke. No,
Heather O'Rourke.
Yes, right before she died.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Sort of kicking off the Poltergeist curse started with the first one. So so we'll be doing that. We're skipping the remake, unfortunately. I can only handle not liking a Rosemary DeWitt Sam Rockwell movie once in my life. I don't need to go through it again.
I almost forgot they did that.
Oh my God. Honestly. I remember fucking sitting in the theater excited for it. I was like, how can you couldn't fuck it up. How could you fuck up a movie with Rosemary DeWitt as JoBeth Williams and Sam Rockwell as Craig T. Nelson? Like, you couldn't fuck it up. All you had to do was do a straight remake. You could have done a fucking Gus Van Sant Psycho and it'd be fine, right? Like, it shouldn't be terrible.
Didn't the remake have that god-awful Jared Harris?
Probably. I don't remember. That sounds right. But they make Sam Rockwell, they give him all the shit to do that the mom had to do in the first one. And I'm like, so wait, the progressive Poltergeist sequel is to like give the woman nothing to do? That's weird. Like,
that is weird.
So yeah, we're not doing that one. We're doing 3, which takes place in Chicago. So
yeah,
cool.
Down at the Hancock building,
Stone
and the water tower,
Haddonfield. So yeah. So this has been season 1 of 709 Meridian. Thanks for sticking through or listening entirely out of order. So there'll be more continuity going forward. But yeah, so cool. Halloween. See Halloween. See some Halloween movies. Don't see all of them.
Don't see all of them. If you take our word for it, there's only a handful of actual good ones to watch.
Yeah, I think we can pretty much agree. You can do 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8, and just forget about the rest.
Yeah, it's the rest are fodder.
Because when we hit Halloween H60 and Jamie Lee Curtis is the Loomis, but retired already or whatever, like,
I hope this never happened.
All new continuity. 20 years from now, whatever. I don't even want to.
No, it's not even. Yeah, it's not even.
And also, earlier in the season, I talked at length about how we should cut all these together somehow. I'm still trying to think of a way to do that is not a lot of work. We'll see. I need to watch like a lot of mini-series trailers, I think, right? Like maybe cut it together like a preview for a mini-series, because then you could do like my mommy died and my Jamie Lloyd, my mommy died type shit. And then you could do, Josh Hartnett yelling at his mom. Then you could do Judy Greer yelling at his mom. And the only thing the story is that Laurie Strode turns into a really bad mom after 2. That's
that's pretty much it.
That's the rest of this story. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will be back in approximately a week with Poltergeist 3. The others? No, not the other side.
3. Just Poltergeist 3 was just 3. I don't even know if they had any tag for it.
See? Okay. That's a bummer.
In fact, I think the one poster I remember was the lightning striking the
I remember that. Yeah.
The Hancock building.
It does not seem. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry for the typing, but I've been doing it enough that should be expected at this point. Yes. So the poster is the little girl looking up at the Hancock building that is covered in lightning. And oh, wow.
The Blu-ray cover is kind of cool.
That is a fucked up Blu-ray cover. Is that weird old guy back from the second one?
He's back, but it's not the same actor.
Of course not. Why would you do that?
There's another cover. The foreign cover is kind of cool too.
Seeing another one where she's at the window with his hand, but no.
That's one I remember too, where she's the tag is he found her.
Yes, I'm seeing that on the VHS release. Poltergeist, interestingly, one of MGM UA's, if not only horror franchise of the franchise. 80s. They're definitely a big one, but yeah, that's a bummer. I kind of wish that there was like a subtitle like Poltergeist 3, The Windy City.
Oh shit, this one's kind of good.
What is it?
There's a Prime Video poster for it. She's walking down the hall and the hands are coming up from. That's pretty cool. Huh. Anything to at least try to make this movie look
right, like just a little bit better. Yeah. So anyway, that'll be next. We'll okay, so that's a Japanese of the new one. That's cooler than the entire new movie.
Wow, there's one where she's looking at the TV. That sucks.
There's a double feature one where it's her just in like fog.
Well, they did it like they did this a lot like Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2 for a while on DVD. That was the only way you could get it. It was on the flip disc with part 2. Oh yeah, I bet that Prime Video one's better than the whole movie. Just found that one. I thought it was a different one. Okay, and then here's a shot of the old man threatening Nancy Allen and Tom Skerritt. Okay, so it's got its sort of got its genre casting bona fides, but also not really, because Tom Skerritt was not just the alien guy, and Nancy Allen was not just the RoboCop girl at that point. But whatever, we'll find out. They were both very much visible, like well-known kind of genre actors.
She would have been closer to genre than him, but by that time he was only a couple years away from picket fences, so he was about to become a TV dad of a sort. So it's like, and it's from '88. What else is there about it? Let's we'll do a little preview at the end. Now we'll start doing these two. We've never done that, because we sort of knew exactly what we were getting ourselves into with the other ones. It's the same. Gary Sherman directed it. Gary Sherman, who, this is going to be hard. He directed Dead and Alive. Oh, okay. So he directed Dead and Buried, which I've always been curious about because it was written by what's-his-face, Dan O'Bannon. He did Vice Squad, which is very USA Up All Night. He did Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer. He did Poltergeist 3. And then the last thing he did before people stopped hiring him was something called Lisa, which starred Stacy Keenan.
That's the one, that's the Candlelight Killer. That's the Candlelight Killer movie.
She's on the phone.
Yeah, she prank calls the guy.
Okay.
And he turns out to be a serial killer, yeah.
And it was a PG-13 horror movie, and she was actually a kid. So it was like your first attempt at sort of PG-13 horror in the theater that would make money. Because, of course, Poltergeist 1 was PG, and I don't think the other ones were ever anything more than PG-13, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if... No, wait, yeah, part 2, I think, was PG-13.
This one's PG-13. 3. Let's see. And then Brian Taggart, co-writer Brian Taggart, wrote V and worked with the director on Wanted Dead or Alive. And he wrote Visiting Hours. So this is from the guy who wrote Visiting Hours.
Have you seen that yet?
I did watch that. It was a fucking weird movie. Very Canadian, very Canadian, and
Shatner's in it though.
Shatner's in it. Shatner, it makes you wish that Shatner had more time in the early 80s to do shit like that than just TJ Hooker. Because you can't just watch a bunch of TJ Hooker. Like that's not okay. But you could watch a bunch of movies, right? Like that. Like, because it's like Shatner visiting hours. We're not even talking about Poltergeist. But yeah, it's
Shatner could have been a John Saxon.
Shatner totally could have been a John Saxon. Why wasn't he a John Saxon? Right? Shatner could have been a John Saxon who was still married, as opposed to John Saxon who was always divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Shatner could have been married dad cop. Saxon was a divorced dad cop. I'm not saying Shatner was a good dad, because I don't know that William Shatner could ever play a good dad. But you know, he could definitely play it on TV. Yeah. So that means that the two guys who wrote the original had nothing to do with this one.
Oh no.
And neither did Amblin.
No, by 3, everybody sort of washed their hands of it, and it was a complete like MGM job.
It is. All right, let's see here. Connections, Files, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side. And Poltergeist 2 took 4 years to come out after the first one, too. It had the connection. It had the same. That was also not Amblin. Was Poltergeist 1 even actually Amblin, or just produced by Spielberg?
It was produced by Spielberg, because I don't recall ever in any print seeing a Amblin thing at the end.
Yeah, because 82 was pre-Amblin, right? Like Amblin's first logos. And I think Amblin could only ever be at
the first time I saw the Amblin logo, wasn't that at the end of Back to the Future?
It might have been, because that would have been the right time, 84, and that would have been exciting. Because I mean, like, Amblin was a brand. Like, trying to explain how Amblin was a brand in the 80s, you really can't. Like, no. But for 4 years there, starting with Back to the Future, Amblin was like a real brand that lasted sort of 88, 89. Like, Spielberg lost a lot of goodwill on Always, I feel like.
They put it at the end of E.T. when it was released on video. I do remember that.
All right. And any more credit trivia that I want to mention? Oh, shit. Uncredited rewrite by the guy who wrote Mac and Me. Produced by... Oh. Well, here's our connection. Produced by Barry Bernardi, who also produced... Holy shit. He was an associate producer on Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. He was an associate producer on The Fog, Halloween, Escape from New York, Christine, and Starman. So basically, he was a John Carpenter producer who never went anywhere, whereas Deborah Hill made it and Larry Franco made it. So interesting. What a setup for Poltergeist 3, The Windy City. But we will be back with that.
Yeah, when we get into it, I almost forgot. I used to be in communication on IMDb chat boards with who's the kid who played the boyfriend? Isn't it
Heather O'Rourke's boyfriend? Isn't that?
Lara Flynn Boyle.
Lara Flynn Boyle's in it. Oh, cool. Sorry. Lara Flynn Boyle sucks, everyone. She's a terrible person. Kip Wentz. Good guy, Kip Wentz, because he always had something to like share with the people about especially the alternate ending, which we'll get into when we do the movie. We gotta wait. Looks like he directed a movie with Dawn Wells, so there you go. That's pretty fucking cool. I've never made a movie with Dawn Wells. All right. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. And if you didn't want to listen to a really long version of this, you can get a shorter version of every episode starting
amended versions.
Today.
Yeah.
Yes, the unsynced 709 Meridian unsynced is coming your way.
That's right. And thanks for hanging with us all season long. And that's right, next season's coming up sooner than you think.